Let's hope live action Guy Gardner doesn't do some of the stuff his post crisis self did. Oh boy. DC acknowledges his different post crisis stuff. For example, even in newer comics, they acknowledge his physiology, his Vulgarian physiology from the post crisis era in the rebirth stuff. Like you see him as normal, then you see him red, and then you see him, the Volderian stuff, and then he loses it, and then you see the rebirth stuff. Like you see how they did that. Like in their eyes, they're trying to imply all that stuff is still intact, apparently, when it comes to Guy's history. That's why you're going to see both continuities in this video. Let's get it. He's the Green Lantern character you think of when you think of what if a Green Lantern was a butthole? Like, he'd be legit being mean to characters like Wonder Woman for no good reason. He has no chill. He will even troll about Superman's death. But even though he has dark humor, he still would defend him. He won't let people act like they're him. Why is he flirting with groupies in front of his Guy Gardner? Green Lantern pretty much proves with his energy manipulation, his Green Lantern ring, he can lift a lot of weight, hundreds of tons, even thousands of tons, because he catches the space station by making a literal slingshot. I would say he can lift a lot more, hundreds of thousands of tons and stuff, when you can make his own constructs literally bigger than buildings themselves and use it as a weapon. Are you really shocked he can lift over hundreds of thousands of tons? I mean, yeah, this is something he did while he was a Yellow Lantern. I'm sure he could do this as a Green Lantern too, making his constructs bigger than buildings, even skyscrapers and such. What do you think his blast power would feel like? Or his punches? Obviously, he can manipulate his punching power with his energy and his ring. He can hit hard enough and tackle you through building. We've seen him do all kinds of beings like this. And when you see him do stuff like punching so hard with his constructs to flatten this robot, it honestly should come as no surprise. Like, he can legit pretend to play baseball, hit hard enough and destroy building-sized structures like a large space station. It's no wonder he can easily bring down or just destroy buildings. I mean, look at this stuff he's blasting away. It's no surprise he can hit way harder than any nuclear bomb you can think of. I would say whatever Hal Jordan can lift with his energy or willpower, I would say Guy shouldn't be far behind, considering he blasted through his shield here, for example. We know Hal Jordan tier beings can put the entire planets like Earth back together, so this should apply for Guy Gardner. Moving things like the moon shouldn't even be a conversation, honestly. When you realize who he's able to arm wrestle, obviously he's amplifying his strength with his Green Lantern ring. He's able to arm wrestle beings like Lobo, one of the strongest beings in DC history. The same guy that's strong enough to arm wrestle Kryptonian tier beings like freaking Supergirl. I shouldn't have to tell you when it comes to Kryptonians, you guys already know the deal, which is a character that is very similar to Superman. Obviously, a lot of people would say Superman got the advantage, but the fact that she's close enough or comparable lets you know what Guy Gardner is really competing against arm wrestling, this being known as Lobo, considering how strong Supergirl is, even compared to the Man of Steel himself. You guys know Kryptonian level beings can move planets. Superman or Supergirl tier beings have the kind of strength to move planets, considering that Superman sees Supergirl as being similar to his power range. And we know Lobo and Supergirl can compete with each other in arm wrestling contests, but so can Guy Gardner. Whether he's weaker or stronger, it doesn't really matter. He's somewhere in their range. The fact he's competing with these same beings would imply that Guy Gardner, he's a high-end Green Lantern tier being. He should be able to move planets as well with his power ring. But then this is still scratching the surface. When you realize he's arm wrestling beings like Lobo, Lobo has muscles that can swing around literal star beings that possess stellar mass. And we literally see Lobo pull or move these kind of beings that have stellar mass. Despite this not being logical, Lobo doesn't care about logic and just brute forced it. The actual definition of stellar mass describes the mass of a star. So Guy Gardner is arm wrestling a being that can move things way larger than the largest planets in our solar system, or move things that have more mass than the largest planets in our solar system. It's more like saying he can move hundreds of thousands of Earths. And if we convert all this to his blast power, being able to move this kind of mass, matching beings that can move this kind of mass, the raw blast power he would have to be able to produce would be over 3,000 times the power needed to destroy Earth. So saying he's a planet buster is an oversimplification. He's leagues upon leagues past Earth-shattering levels of raw energy to be able to move that much weight. That's right. If you can move a sun just a little bit, that means the amount of energy you can produce is enough energy to destroy the Earth 3,000 times over. So he's way above Earth-shattering levels of power. The size difference is laughable. I mean, it's funny because when he's not being bros with Lobo, like you can see his power comparisons to him being literally hit by Lobo. I mean, in this particular situation, he was a Yellow Lantern. Yeah, don't ask. He was a Yellow Lantern for a little while. He got kicked out. Yeah, he actually hurt Lobo with his hits. I think he could probably do this as Green Lantern too. That's why I'm just showing you. Yellow Lantern, Green Lantern, it don't matter. I would say in his Yellow Lantern state, he's probably more or less on his Green Lantern levels of power based on the stuff we've seen him do, punching beings through this many asteroids and stuff. Guy Gardner's feats are consistent when you look at the characters he has to compete against, beings that can blow the planet away. Like Blue Beetle, his energy shields can shield from. He's even took hits when not fully shielded up, battled him, and drilled him with his construct, overpowering Blue Beetle in the situation, showing he's a powerhouse. This being known as Despero is a freaking team buster. Like, look at this. Wonder Woman, Shazam, Superman, Power Girl, like high-end powerhouses, he's boxing them all at the same time. Like, this is ludicrous, y'all. Multiple teams, and this is like a more than one-time occasion type situation. When it comes to fighting Flash, Martian Manhunter, powerhouses both at the same time. You probably wonder, what does this have to do with Guy Gardner? Well, it has a lot to do with him, because Despero was about to blast this person, and he contained the blast with his energy, turned it back on him. It's one of those situations where I'm not necessarily saying he's equal to him in a 1v1, but the fact his hits can cause him discomfort should be taken note. Superman has contained black holes. His body can withstand stuff that was going to mess up the whole solar system. This is the kind of stuff powerhouses in DC do. Look, I'm not saying he's equal to Superman, but for him to be able to cause Superman discomfort, knowing how durable this guy is, like, I'm talking about a guy that can survive supernovas multiplied by 50, even when he's weakened by sun energy. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. So these beings are well above star-shattering levels of power, and he's damaging them with his blast. So calling Guy a sun shatterer is still technically an oversimplification of his raw might. Like, powerhouses in DC withstanding black holes and stuff is normal for Superman tiers and such. Again, not saying he's equal to Superman, but he still can kind of damage him with his blast. You see why that's impressive? And this being Despero, he contained his blast, this same being that be fighting multiple Superman tier type beings. He contained this guy's blast and then launched him away with his construct. I mean, he blasted back Martian Manhunter here. But if you still think I'm overrating his power, well, this occasion really proves why he's not just some fodder, no-name Green Lantern, because he literally took on multiple Green Lanterns at the same time, just to show the reader that he is a higher-end Green Lantern. I mean, they're always fighting Yellow Lanterns, same concept. He took out the head of a Sinestro Corps member. He's out here busting constructs of multiple different Green Lanterns with a single hit on his own. He's shielding from 3 different Green Lanterns at the same time. Hal Jordan is who you think of when you think of like poster boy Green Lanterns, right? When he makes Hal Jordan kind of drowsy, that says a lot about how hard he can hit. Yeah, solar system shattering power is one thing, but there was something that was going to go down when a whole bunch of Lanterns were involved, including Guy. Guy was in the situation where World was going to explode and it was going to wipe out the entire Milky Way galaxy. Lanterns working together had to distribute and not let this happen, containing such amount of energy. It's hard to measure because every Lantern isn't equal and every Lantern did contribute a different part, but I would say Guy has to be somewhere at the higher ends to even be able to contribute with these beings. Being one of the many Lanterns working together to stop something that was going to wipe out the entire Milky Way galaxy. But if you think this shouldn't count because it was a team effort, well, when you look at his performances with the higher end Green Lanterns, when he's breaking out of constructs, when this many Lanterns are trying to restrain him, that says a lot. And these ain't no ordinary Green Lanterns. We're talking about the best of the best, like Hal Jordan being one of the best of the best. He's breaking through his. I think we all could agree that Hal Jordan and Kyle Rayner are within the same ballpark when it comes to blast power. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, think about it. You know Kyle is a beast when he's able to damage a amped up Hal Jordan when he was Parallax, when he was Cosmic Being status. So he can do this while he's amped. What do you think he could do to his base self? You see, they're similar, right? I'm bringing this up because a good way to understand a high-end Lantern's power is to understand Kyle. Like earlier, I already mentioned the star shattering stuff. You know, he can contain stars that are trying to explode. You already know that kind of stuff, right? But scans like this make it clear that beings, like during the events with Imperiex, he had taken the energy from the destruction of entire galaxy. All that energy was being let out, and Kyle Green Lanterns can contain this kind of energy on his freaking own. All this stuff makes Guy Gardner look impressive because he's also a high-end Green Lantern. Because Guy made this construct, right? And all these different heavyweight Green Lanterns had to team up to break this construct. They've even given him props that he has willpower. I mean, he didn't take him on in a 1v1 or nothing, but I just think the fact that he gave him this much trouble on his own when there's heavy end ones like John Stewart and Hal Jordan in the mix, that lets you know he has to be a powerhouse Green Lantern, right? And I don't want to be that guy to bring up Lobo again, but hey, Guy Gardner did arm wrestle a being like Lobo, a being that can trade blows with godlike beings that can shake the cosmos itself. So I guess all this technically makes sense, that he can manifest a will that can shake the whole cosmos, matching Lobo this hard. We know Cyborg Superman is Superman level, of course, right? Anybody that can withstand a blast from Cyborg Superman that has 4 different Lantern rings, I would say you have to be a powerhouse. Not saying he's stronger, but look, I would say you have to be a powerhouse to withstand a blast from a being this strong. You know you got to have a lot of willpower, and you know, the stronger the willpower, the mightier your ring and stuff. You guys know that, right? Well, somebody uses a construct on him, and even when he doesn't have his ring, it doubles down on the fact that he's a higher end being when it comes to will. He deflects theirs without no ring. And when he does have his ring on, it's described as having A leaky water faucet. Sparks always fly when he's just standing still. His willpower can't wait to get free. That's how much willpower he got. Usually willpower in comics or just fiction in general is like the ultimate counter for mind control type stuff. There's a reason why characters can't just mind control Guy. He has a lot of willpower. He counters it, which also adds up with the fact he's a higher end Green Lantern. He has the willpower to moon the Justice League. Of course, he has enhanced speed, reflex wise, and just raw speed wise, deflecting attacks from other Green Lanterns, beings that can shoot out things of light, beams of light. He can react to laser cannons and save people before they get hit by the laser cannon. There was something that was literally the speed of light, but he was still able to catch up to it regardless, proving that he can achieve faster than light, tight, speed, animated construct to grab it like a claw, dragon claw. This is not a one-time thing. You know how fast space is. You know how in Star Wars you see the ships moving past the stars so fast that you're like, you just see a whole bunch of lines. That's kind of what you see Guy Gardner do here, and he catches up to it despite his speed. And he's on his like little space motorcycle. This is just casual stuff for Green Lanterns. I mean, Green Lanterns have to be able to protect a big section of space. They have to be able to fly to different parts of space. It makes sense. Like, you literally see him travel at least 1 light year in several hours. He's over thousands of times faster than the speed of light. Actually, Guy Gardner implied he can travel the whole length of the universe within 10 hours, which is apparently 100 trillion light years. That's 80 quadrillion times faster than the speed of light. Yes, the DC universe is bigger than our apparent observable universe. In short, Green Lanterns are basically speedsters. On top of all this stuff I mentioned, he has fighting skills, said to have 99% accuracy, marksmanship. There's certain versatile things you forget Green Lanterns can do, like go through walls, aka go intangible, shield himself or others from telepathic type of attack. You can become a really good detective or a tracker, tracking radiation or just people. It even knows about magic. It can sense the magic. And guys, I've hinted at it throughout this video of him having different rings. In this particular situation, Yellow Lantern, this pretty much shows he can do the same stuff as a Green Lantern, ridiculous speed, flight speed, which is of course expected. Yeah, I'm late in the video, but say it with me, everybody. Guy Gardner has had the famous say it with me temporary power up where he gets real strong and then loses the power because they got to make him stay the Green Lantern. His temporary power was a little different because it kind of links to his actual physiology. Wait, you guys know the story, the legend of Guy Gardner. Started off as a normal guy. He did sports, became a green member of the Green Lantern Corps. Some of the stuff you already know throughout the video. Had a girl, hot head. He became a Yellow Lantern. This is the temporary power I'm talking about. The way he looks. Yep. I guess you could say Guy was never human after all. Well, not just human. He was a hybrid. He was a human mixed with an alien race that can do all kinds of weird stuff, including, but not limited to, shaping his body into different weapons. You can say he has some decent healing, all because of his Voldarian ancestors. Stated here, his Voldarian genetics brought him back from the brink of death. Yeah, there's a lot to Guy. So I guess you could say he's a powerhouse tier without even relying on the Green Lantern ring. Like, we see him turn his arms into spikes, can fly, can shift his arms into guns or a knife. So if I'm being honest, all that blast power, powerhouse stuff that I showed you earlier, you can say he's like that, but just naturally without no type of anything, no ring or nothing, just his physiology. I guess you can say his only limitations in his alien form, like he has 2 forms, his human looking form and his alien form, he will turn back, kind of like Super Saiyan 3 if he uses the form too long. So you could say his form has like a stamina issue. That's the real only weakness, really. It's talked about here. He's been in it too long. Saying these powers should have came with an instruction manual. You can even try to catch him off guard while he's in his humanish looking mode, but nah, he could just straight up transform and it would just fix all that stuff up, like how Deathstroke tried to hit him, but it didn't work well. He's got hit by heavy hitters like Aquaman and retaliated. Kryptonian tier beings like Power Girl. He's durable enough to withstand hits even if he goes all the way to space. I mean, he's been hit by Superman. I mean, let's be real. He can easily produce handheld bombs that is as destructive as nukes. So yeah, he has destructive power to blow away a city. I mean, he's on some adapting type stuff, absorbing their flames in this particular situation with Blue Devil and Fire. They kind of gave him a temporary power up on top of this. Beings like Booster Gold, we see him hit, gets in a straight up boxing match with Major Force, damaging him with his guns, making blades that can murk Major Force. His blast power can blow a hole through Major Force, saying he can blast with enough force to destroy a planet based on all these different opponents, powerhouses that you've seen this mode do. That would be like an oversimplification, honestly. Thanks to his Voldarian physiology, Superman said he hits as hard as Doomsday, maybe harder. Green Lantern tiers like John Stewart even describe him as a massive amount of raw power. So basically, earlier when I was bringing up Superman tier stuff, shaking the cosmos type of strength or punching power, all that kind of raw power should apply to this version of Guy Gardner. He's a raw powerhouse, high end. Superman also said he's a better fighter than Doomsday too. But of course, the writers got to go back to the status quo, and they can't keep him with this kind of power. So its power started going out of control, and it was pretty much being too dangerous. It's revealed that his own body is rejecting itself. His organs are twisting around inside his shape-shifting physiology. It's fighting with him. And of course, his DNA is rebuilding itself, with his human DNA, of course, being the dominant one. And you see the ring come on him yet again. And he's back as a Green Lantern. So, it was a temporary power. But yeah, it was a cool temporary power, even though it should have been permanent because it's his DNA, but whatever. DC wants him to be a Lantern. And I thought this power was kind of cool, though. I want to hear your thoughts. Do you like him better as a Green Lantern, or do you like him better as a Voldarian? How many characters do you know that have both used the Red Ring of Rage and Love, being a Sapphire temporarily? Only Guy would have the privilege to use both. But of course, this was only temporary. For all of these different lanterns, they all had different colors right here, even Hal. But of course, this changed and it was back to the green. He's always changing lantern colors. He'll go from green, sometimes he's yellow, sometimes he'll wield both red and yellow, which is crazy. Rage and fear. He's what you would call the edgiest Green Lantern, I would say. I mean, heck, there was even a time when he was a member of the Dark Stars. Like, sometimes he loses his ring. He has to find some way to get more powered up than normal. But for the most part, a lot of the stuff I've already went over, it's the same concept with Rebirth, New 52. It's the same stuff. It's based on his imagination, his ring power. 1 ounce, 1 ton, he can change the weight of his projectiles or his energy. So that's why you see different lanterns like make weights on beings to help weigh them down. This isn't necessarily Guy here, but stuff Guy could do too. He's a lantern, so of course he's one of the most versatile characters ever. Like in the Rebirth, they talk about his earlier uniform, and you can see how his uniform differs from everybody else's uniform and how he got his own like little swag. He can make all sorts of things with his mind, imagination, like a drill, blades, mace-like structure, battle suits, like his very own Iron Man armor with a giant hammer, flying platforms to hold different beings, giant fists, can watch TV. His green aura willpower gives him extreme durability. That's why you see bullets bouncing off of him. He can make his Green Lantern constructs act like actual water or waves, can make guns of all sorts, cannons, cameras he can actually take pictures with, and then communicate through them. His ring can literally scan for different locations, create decoys so you will chase after the wrong thing, constructs that he can use to see through objects like the other lanterns, similar stuff that you're used to, right? It's pretty obvious, just like the last continuity, he can lift a lot of weight with his ring. When it comes to vehicles in space that are accelerating, he can make chains to lock these vehicles down to where they can't move, proving he can lift like a couple tons easily. It's expected he has a ton of blast power, or you can say he can just hit really hard in general, like he can blast through walls. With his different constructs, he can blow down buildings, obviously. He can make his literal constructs the size of buildings and hit with the mass of an entire building, punch you in the face. He can basically pretend to be a building-sized being punching you. Why do you think when he blasts with other Green Lanterns, they do this to trees or the environment? Or big things like this. Like you can see the size comparison. It looks like a freaking mountainous sized thing just hitting it. Making his own Green Lantern hammer can knock something this large over. It's quite obvious he can hit hard. I mean, matter of fact, Guy is helping out on these occasions, so it shows that he's a helpful contributor in making planet-sized constructs covering the entirety of Mars, along with other Green Lanterns. This kind of stuff implies he can make constructs bigger than moon-sized structures if he can help make constructs around the entirety of Mars. Yeah, sure, this isn't Guy, but yeah, beings like Hal can move entire things like the moon. With his ring, why wouldn't Guy be able to do something similar? If he can help make a construct the size of a planet like Mars, couldn't he just move a planet by making a giant hand to push it? Usually when the lanterns are doing an impressive feat of power, usually Guy is there with them, proving that he's not just dead weight in comparisons, just like the other ones. He can help break through a dimensional barrier when all the lanterns concentrate and work together. But yeah, this was a team effort. But yeah, Guy's always with them doing these things. General Zod, right? You see Superman punching him, right? We know Superman can punch hard, right? We see him get hit by Superman and Supergirl. So it's clear, no matter how you look at it, Zod is somewhere within Supergirl, Superman ranges. When you agree with punching power, durability, when you agree. This is relevant because we legit see high-end Green Lantern tiers like Hal Jordan take on Zod, and it's not what you would call a mismatch. They go at it panel for panel, and he even gets the upper hand over freaking Zod with no kryptonite, y'all. Oh, this isn't the first time you've seen Hal do stupid stuff that don't make no kind of sense, like shielding from 250,000 Kryptonians temporarily. Of course, they didn't do it for good, but it's the fact that he did it for a little while is insane. They, of course, eventually can bust through. This is literally absurdity that he even shielded for a little while against this many Kryptonians. This has a lot to do with Gardner, considering he was able to do this while Zod was technically amplified by more than one sun. No, you see that there's more than one sun in the sky. You can literally see it. Like, here's the thing. I'm not necessarily saying he's equal to Hal Jordan. I'm saying he's somewhere in his neighborhood. That's what I'm saying. Like, he was here during this conflict with these Kryptonians and Zod. Yeah, when Guy Gardner was fighting Kryptonian kids, it didn't go as well. Plus, I think part of this, he was taking it easy on him because he was a kid. You know, he's somewhere in Hal Jordan's ballpark, because in this occasion, when they're all the powerhouses are threatening Zod, Guy is here, implying that he's a threat too if they was to team up on him. There's implications that higher end Green Lanterns can hurt even Supergirl tears. You know, Supergirl level beings can withstand assaults that can bring down galaxies, y'all. What does that say about Green Lantern tears, Guy Gardner tears? Supergirl tears can withstand blasts from beings that have the power of 1,000 galaxies in their hands. All of this stuff, even if he's not exactly equal when it comes to punching power, he's somewhere in their neighborhood to damage certain Kryptonian tears, even higher ends like Zod. Just being somewhere in their neighborhood would imply galaxy destroying type of power, you know? Even for Guy Gardner, even if he's not the mightiest of the mightiest Green Lanterns, he's close enough. Like, he's like one of the poster people when it comes to high-end human Green Lanterns, you know? But on top of all this raw power, being a Green Lantern, even without it, he is implied to have just straight up fighting skills, using actual normal weapons at times, or even practicing boxing. No, seriously, it's weird seeing beings that have Green Lantern rings use actual other guns other than their Green Lantern guns. But anyway, there was this being, he didn't have his ring on. He told this guy to fight him without the ring, even though he physically had a stat advantage because this being was obviously bigger and stronger looking. Guy Gardner didn't care, and it shows his fighting skills, his resolve. Even though this being having a clear physical advantage in raw punching power, just muscle, mass in general, Guy doesn't stop. And he digs deep. Despite him getting bloody, he actually starts using his battle IQ to get the advantage over this being in a contest of straight hands without no ring on, which is actually crazy. This did take everything he had, though. He fell out. Just like the other continuity, it shouldn't be no surprise that he's really fast. They even talk about it here, 1 jillion miles an hour. That's not a real number, but still fast. There's plenty of scans of them just flying to different planets. This also implies light speed. Some of these scans, they don't necessarily tell us the exact time it took to do this stuff, so it's really up in the air. These comics do imply that they can just fly to different sectors whenever they feel like it. I mean, you know how spaced out each planet is. You have to be pretty much way over light speed to even get any distance in space. You can see these scans. You can kind of look at how they're passing meteors or stars and how it looks like the Star Wars thing, where they're warping through space so fast you can't even see like where you're going really. That's kind of what Guy and them be doing on occasions like this. There's plenty of occasions of this. It's implied they can fly 1 billion miles in a very short amount of time. It was this occasion when they was approaching Saturn. It kind of showed off his speed, but at the same time, very vague. But at the same time, you know, when they're amped up by Blue Lantern, it's implied he can cross distance of planets like in no time. Again, pretty vague. It's implied he can fly really freaking fast. But at the end of the day, all of this could be me. You probably didn't know this troll of a lantern was this mighty, did you? Thanks for the donos, though, everybody. Respect Guy Gardner. I'm glad you are enjoying your time on the channel. Make sure you check out the playlist on the channel to see other How Strong videos. If you like what this channel is offering, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys later.